Coming up on this episode of One-on-One Sports.
We discuss which top 10 college football teams might disappear.
Pair candy with matching athletes.
And which places are the scariest to play in.
All that and so much more.
And it all starts right now. Hello and welcome to this Halloween episode of One-on-One Sports. I'm Thomas Hale.
And I'm Ellie Whittington. We have a spooky show planned today, but before all of that, Thomas and I are going to jump in with the quick hitters. Mascots are common across all levels of sports, and for years they have been entertaining and frightening fans alike. Thomas, which mascot is the most terrifying out there in all of sports?
All right, so the New Orleans Pelicans hosted the All-Star game in 2014 for the NBA, and over there they have Mardi Gras and all that.
Yes.
And there's a little tradition there where during the Mardi Gras season you eat a cake, and inside that
King cake.
little king
Cake,
cake,
yes.
there's a little baby doll inside. So I'd rather keep that in the cake because the Pelicans decided to make this a mascot. They made a full-size king cake baby. It had big eyes, like messed up teeth, crazy hat. It was the scariest baby I've ever seen. It went around and scared tons of athletes. Like, no one likes this thing. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, I was looking at pictures of it, and it's like, this is terrifying.
It's a full-size baby. The head's this big.
I don't know if you know anything about Mardi Gras, but like the babies are usually like this
Yeah,
little, and
just a
they're
little
supposed to
toy.
bring good luck, I think.
Not this one.
It brings bad luck, scary.
Yeah, this thing's freaky.
I'm going with the Arizona State Sparky the Sun Devil. The mascot of the university is the Sun Devil.
Yeah.
But this is like a devilish looking face. And all I could think about was laying in my bed and having these bad dreams of this Sun Devil.
So no
And I
Arizona
think-
State games
yeah,
for you?
And also like a lot of mascots I think are good more towards children.
Yeah.
So you want this friendly, huggable thing, not something like the Chick-fil-A cow that
Sun
someone's going to
Devil.
run from.
That's true, yeah. You scared of the Chick-fil-A cow?
No, I love Chick-fil-A.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah. Go Chick-fil-A. Last week, the New York Yankees and manager Joe Girardi decided to part ways. Girardi had been at the helm for 10 years, making 6 playoffs and won the 2009 World Series. Ellie, was this the right move, or is it going to come back to haunt the Yankees in the future?
This is a tough one,
Yeah.
and just ending the season, baseball season isn't even over, but I am going with this is the right move for the Yankees.
You got that jersey on.
Yes, I
hear
do.
it. Let's hear the official stance.
I think that it was the right move. Girardi's been with the organization for 10 years. He did lead them to the 2009 World Series, and this past season to the last game of the American League Championship.
Absolutely.
Actually to Game 7, where the Astros obviously advanced, are now playing for the World Series.
Go Astros.
I think that Girardi has had a great run with the Yankees, and he has done a wonderful job as manager. But I think it's time. You kind of get in a rut over time. There's a great team. The Yankees are a great team, and they're going to continue, I think, with these baby
The
bombers.
thing about this is that it seems like Girardi was just on the cusp of a really great run for the Yankees right now. And I think that the Yankees have so much young talent. You see a guy like Aaron Judge, and then you see what Girardi...
Aaron Judge is still there.
I know he's going to stay there, but I want Girardi to stay there with him so
Well, he
can
doesn't
coach
play.
him the whole time. Well, he's going to coach him the whole time.
Okay,
So the
okay.
thing is, though, is that Girardi took this team all the way to the ALCS. What can they do in the future?
I do want to bring this up. You're correct in that. But
Hey, thanks.
when the last time that Girardi was a manager, he was a manager for the Marlins in Florida. And in 2006, he won Manager of the Year with the Marlins, and the team played very well. They didn't make the playoffs, but they had a great season.
Right.
The same year that he was Manager of the Year, he was fired. So this is very similar.
He's got bad luck, it sounds like.
No,
to me.
it's good luck. He's going to move on, do great things. The Yankees are going to continue to do great things and have a new manager and maybe win.
That's what you think.
next
I'm with
World
Girardi.
Series.
I'm with Joe.
Okay, I am too. Halloween is a time where many dress up as their favorite athlete on their favorite team or their favorite team's colors. Which athletes and costumes would be the most fitting in all of sports?
So I'm going to pick a flashy guy like Odell Beckham Jr. to do this off of.
Ooh.
When you see him on the football field, this guy's scoring touchdowns. He's got the nicest dance moves in the league. I got to give it to him.
Dancing does not make a costume.
Just you wait. It makes a
Okay.
costume when he dresses up as the king of pop, Michael Jackson. He could totally kill it. He's out there doing the moves. He can moonwalk all over the field in turf and cleats.
Oh.
He could do it easily on
So
the
you think
floor.
Odell should dress up?
I think he should do, Odell Beckham should dress up as Michael Jackson or a pack of ramen noodles because he's got that crazy hair.
Ooh, the crazy hair. And I think if you dressed up as Odell Beckham Jr., you would have to dye your hair, some crazy wig. I think you could wear a clown wig.
Not a lot of people want to do that.
I don't know. I'm going with Cam Newton. I think that this dude, he rocks Halloween costumes. And if you see him in every press conference, which hasn't been very good for him lately,
no, that's true.
but his outfits are insane. I think you could literally go to the thrift store, go to Goodwill, go to your closet, and pick out the most outrageous items that you own, put them on, and say, I'm dressed as Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But they're probably way more expensive than anything I have.
Get a little man romper or something, go find one of those. Yeah, he's the one who made those famous.
Would you wear a man romper for Halloween?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Once Cam wears it a couple more times.
Yes, he has these really crazy shoes. I'm a shoe queen, so I want some Cam Newton shoes.
Oh, okay. I'll get some for you. Monsters are just as much a part of Halloween as pumpkins. Now imposing, scary athletes are common in all sports, but the question remains, who's the biggest and scariest athletes in all of sports?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
You know, this season has put a lot of questions. Is Tom Brady too old? All of these things. But I will tell you, if I was any NFL team, I still would fear Tom Brady.
Really?
That man is he's a superhero in himself, I think. He has these magic powers.
Hey, well, I got his kryptonite. Ray Lewis right there,
wow.
baby. Ray Lewis.
Let's hear
Tom
it.
Brady was terrified of Ray Lewis on the field, and so was every other team when Ray Lewis stepped on the field. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 13-time Pro Bowl.
I think that Tom Brady has a little few more rings than that.
More rings, but I think he's got a couple more bruises when Ray Lewis was knocking him on the ground, too.
That's a good point. But Tom Brady, I think right now, if the quarterback runs this team, and let me tell you, I would not want to be against Tom Brady any day.
Absolutely. Unless I'm Ray Lewis.
He's so smart. He runs his offense incredibly, and unless you're Ray Lewis, that's true. But
he's a good player. He's the GOAT. Now, tell me right now, if you had to pick between the two having a better costume, who would have a better costume? Tom Brady or Ray Lewis?
Ray Lewis.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, Tom Brady. Oh, but with Giselle, I think they would have this perfect.
Tom Brady wears Uggs, though. I don't know. Yeah, he's going to have the really nice outfit.
But can you imagine Giselle and Tom Brady and their little kid? Like, that's perfect family Halloween.
They are. That's true. But Ray Lewis, that's my boy.
What do you want him to be?
Ray Lewis, I think, I don't know, maybe a mobster. He already dresses like a mobster all the time. I could totally see him.
Well, happy Halloween to all of you, and I hope you have a great time.
That's all we have for this episode of Quick Hitters, but don't go anywhere because I will be joined at the desk to discuss some college football. Another crazy weekend in college football saw 2 top 4 teams dig their graves and others continue to avoid a terrible fate. For this block, we'll be looking at a few teams in the top 10, and our experts Jimmy Longo and Matt Holzapfel will debate which will survive and which will die and turn into ghosts of rankings past. So, Matt, let's kick it off with the Miami Hurricanes. Who you got? Number 9 right now.
Yeah, I got the Canes surviving. You know, they dropped from 8 to 9 last week despite beating a pretty decent UNC team, despite what their record says. And they have a tough schedule. Hey, they play Virginia Tech, who's number 15, Notre Dame, who's number 5. So, but both those games are at home in Miami. So I think if they can win those 2 games, they're all but guaranteeing a spot in the ACC championship game and then maybe in the college football playoff.
Not so fast here. Okay, let me tell you, Miami's like they're trick-or-treating here. They've gone to all the houses with the great candy, and now they're coming up to some ladies that are going to give them floss, okay? Notre Dame and Virginia Tech are 2 tough teams, especially in ACC Coastal Division. And also, Miami really hasn't shown a lot. I mean, their ACC teams that they've played are 15 and 25. Now, okay, maybe if they do make it past Virginia Tech and Notre Dame and beat them, they're going to have to play Clemson in the ACC championship in Charlotte.
And I think what sets them apart from Clemson is that they're both strong teams who have played well on both sides of the ball. But if Kelly Bryant's still hurt for Clemson, you look at Malik Rozier at quarterback for Miami, he's looked fantastic this year.
But North Carolina, 3rd drive of the game, goes out with a shoulder injury. He comes back, but he hasn't practiced this whole week. You know, we'll see what happens. I mean, if they're going to win, if they're going to make it, they need him.
That's more of a problem, I think, for these next 2 games against Tech and Notre Dame. Maybe not against Clemson if they play them in the championship, though. Hopefully by then he's back, he's healthy. Maybe they even, start to play more running the ball in these next 2 games if that's their game to keep him safe, if that's what they need to do.
Definitely a lot of tough games up ahead for him. But let's move up the list now. Jimmy, we're going to talk number 5, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They're rolling lately.
Let me tell you, they are surviving.
Yeah?
Surviving. What a season. Turnaround, 4-8. Now they're 7-1. And look at Brendan Wimbush. He's thrown over 1,000 yards, rushed over 529. And then, you have Josh Adams, who's got like 1,200 yards rushing. It's insane. And I don't think there's anyone that is going to stop them. I really don't.
Nothing ahead of the schedule.
Yeah, and they're
Notre Dame is dead. They're done. Their season's coming to an end pretty soon, and here's why. They face the same fate as Miami, except here's the difference. There are 2 games against ranked opponents that are on the road. They got to go to Miami, like we mentioned. They also have to go at Stanford, who, while their ranking at 18 is a little bit low, they have played some very strong games this season.
but like Thomas said, they're on a roll. They have played 2 consecutive games against top 15 opponents and beat them by 20-plus points.
All right, well, hey, let's move up the list a little bit more. Sounds like you don't believe in Notre Dame. Let's see what you think about the Wisconsin Badgers at number 4.
I put Wisconsin as surviving, but here's why. They have not and they will not play a ranked team all season. And that's just a product, not their fault, of the Big Ten West being kind of weak, especially with Michigan being not that good this year. So I think they're going to survive. They're going to finish the season undefeated, make the Big Ten championship game, but they're not going to win that game against Ohio State or Penn State, whoever it may be.
They're dying. They're like the swiper, no swiping Dora costume here, sneaking all the Reese's when no one's looking. I'm telling you, like Northwestern, that was their best team that they've probably played this year, who was 5-3. Every other team has been below 500.
But it stays that way with the exception of Michigan for the rest of their schedule.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, that's all the time we have. A lot of football left to be played, all right? But it's all the time we got for the Ghosts. But when we come back, we discuss the best part of Halloween, the candy, and the athletes best described by those tasty treats. Stay tuned.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Hand out candy to our favorite teams and athletes. And here at 101, we've decided to hand out candy to these athletes that also describes them perfectly. A little trick-or-treating, here we go. So first, we're going to go with the New York Giants, who could possibly use some of the season they're having. They're kind of not on the sweet side right now. What kind of candy are you guys going to give the Giants, Andrew?
Well, I'm giving them a 0 bar because at this point in the season, there's just zero chance that they have to make the playoffs, to do anything successful. Eli Manning is slowing down progressively. Everyone's hurt on the Giants. No chance.
But they have one win, not 0 wins. I'm going to give them lifesavers and a whole bag of them. You know why? Because they could use a whole bag of them. They're either terrible or they're injured. The players that are good aren't on the field because they're hurt. The players that are bad are on the field.
So they need a lifesaver?
They need a whole bag of them.
Okay, moving on, guys. We're going to go to Steph Curry. Mason, I'm going to start off with you.
Well,
what are you going to give Steph Curry?
There were 2 things I could have given Steph. One was a jawbreaker because he needs to stop jawing off to officials. But then I realized, why is he jawing off to officials? Because he had his payday. And now that he's getting...
show our viewers what a payday.
It's just peanut caramel bar, according to the rapper. But because he got his payday, 5 years, $201 million, now he thinks he's going to get treated, that he should get treated, like the LeBron James of the world. Of course, he had the biggest payday in history for about 48 hours.
Well, I hope that is very rich in sodium because Steph is one salty player. And I'm going to give him, because he's a jolly rancher. He's a very jolly player.
Just one jolly
especially
rancher?
with his recent antics against the referees, whether it's a mouthpiece or just mouthing off. Steph, I know he's got that payday, so lighten up on the attitude, man. Come on, you're one of the best players.
That's the whole Warriors team right now.
You're one of the best players in the
league.
Just got paid a bunch of money. You're gonna win again.
Absolutely.
And so
it's the regular season.
Man.
It's the regular season. Who cares? Who cares? It's the NBA regular season, and you're the Warriors. You're going to be the first seed in the West, and you're going to go and win it all.
I know it's Halloween, but they must be waiting for Christmas
Doesn't
morning.
sound like you guys are very happy with the Warriors right now. We're going to move on to the newest team, the LA Golden Knights. Excuse me, the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes.
Will you start off with us, Andrew?
Sour Patch Kids, because first when they announced the expansion of the NHL to Las Vegas, everyone was very sour on the idea. Oh, this team's gonna suck. Now they're sitting at 8-1.
I don't know.
So first they're sour, now they're sweet.
I don't know if everyone was sour about them. I'm giving them a box of Red Hots. Why? Because they're red hot right now. But take this from a grain of salt. They're hot now. They're not going to be hot later. Why? Because they're on goaltender number 4. Marc-Andre Fleury, out. Their backup goalkeeper, Subban, out. Goalkeeper number 3, yeah, he's out too. They're on goalkeeper number 4.
I look at it like eating a lot of Halloween candy on Halloween. You're going to love it in the moment. You might not feel so great afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're red hot now. 8-2. They lost to the Isles last night, but still, one of the best teams in hockey. I like them right now. They're red hot.
Guys, I love your candy choices, and happy Halloween to you. That is all the time we have for this sweet block. Up next, Thomas will be back at the desk to discuss the scariest places to play.
There are some arenas where visiting teams just don't want to play. I'm joined at the desk by our experts, Chris Edwards and Brad Clear, as they break down the scariest places to play in each sport. So guys, let's kick it off with some NCAA basketball. Chris, what's the toughest place to play in there?
Well, to me, I got to go to the Big 12 and to Kansas at the Allen Fieldhouse, just simply given the fact that it's the loudest stadium in the world. It is literally the Guinness World Record holder for loudest indoor stadium. Plus, you combine that fact what they have not lost, they just do not lose at home. Taking it back to last season when they lost to Iowa State, they had a 51 home game winning streak up until that point, and that goes back to the previous
If we
season.
want to talk about going back to previous seasons and history, it has to be Cameron Indoor for Duke. The crowd noise. You mentioned that the Allen Fieldhouse holds the Guinness World Record. Duke's not far behind. You have fans who are doing the arm thing and the ooh. I can't even do it. It's very loud. It's very annoying. It's very spooky. Halloween.
There you go.
I would not want to play there. I don't think opposing teams want to play there. The aura of Duke's history and the ghost of Duke's successful past, Coach K's aura and scariness.
Wait, I thought this was Halloween. I thought this was not Christmas. Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh, I was going there.
All right,
Very
all right,
spooky.
boys.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to college football now. Brad, who do you got?
For me, it's no questions the Big House. You have this this open bowl-like stadium, no upper deck, 115,000 people. It's just this cold tundra, and it's just this sort of this big abyss of noise
Yeah,
and constant
I
noise.
agree with you. Michigan is a great stadium. I love it out there. But when you're talking about scary stadiums, try going down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Roll Tide,
Tough to win there.
baby. Bryant-Denny Stadium, 101,000 people can fill up that stadium.
Yeah, but 115,000.
But here's the
can fill
thing,
out
they
Michigan.
don't lose at home, especially under Saban. You want to know the last time they lost at home?
Please tell me.
2015 against Ole Miss. You want to know the last time they lost before that?
No.
2012. They do not lose at home.
And all right, so we're talking about, you're mentioning recent years. Let's go way in the past. Let's look at the years of Lloyd Carr when he was the coach there. Let's look at Harbaugh in the past few years, even though they lost to
I'm
Ohio
just saying,
State.
you're trying to go to Alabama.
You think you got
You're
the
trying to go to
history on
Michigan.
Alabama? Alabama's got the current stats right now.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the MLB. Chris, take it away.
You know what? I'm going to go with Fenway Park. Boston Red Sox, just simply because the curse of the Bambino.
Ooh.
Yeah, because there's an actual
Spooky
lore
stuff.
with here. So when Babe Ruth his contract was sold to the Yankees back in 1919 season, they were cursed to not win an entire World Series pennant, and they didn't win one until 2004. You combine that with the fact they have a really big wall called the Green Monster.
They have the
10
Green
feet.
Monster. They have these ghosts and whatnot. If we want to talk about ghosts of past, Yankee Stadium, even though it's the new one, is the ultimate.
That stadium is not scary.
Ken Giles, when he was playing in the ALCS, said he was nervous and intimidated by that stadium.
Oh, I'm
The
so
crowd
sorry
noise-
for Kim.
Is that not the point of this entire block?
Keep
We
it
look at
going.
Yankee Stadium. We have the ghosts of their past. We have the incredible crowd noise. When that stadium is loud, there is no louder stadium in the entire
Fenway all the
MLB.
way,
Well,
baby.
Brad,
Nah,
let's move it on to
disagree.
hockey at the end. I got my jersey on. Scariest hockey
I think there's
stadium.
many options you can go with for the NHL, but for me, it's got to be Wells Fargo Center. I've known my roommate's dad, Archer's Irbe. He was playing in the NHL for 15 years. He was terrified of the Philadelphia fans. They got on goalies like crazy,
everyone
got in
is,
their
yeah.
heads. That is a rowdy, hot crowd that does not hold back. You do not want to play
No,
that
yeah,
for the
absolutely.
Philadelphia
I have
NHL.
no disagreement with that choice. I'm not going to go with another team. I'm going to go with the United Center with the Chicago Blackhawks. They may not be as rowdy as you mentioned, the Philadelphia Flyers and Wells Fargo, but there is a championship prestige with Chicago. Fans always show up. They always go to all the games.
Well, Chris,
Can't
like
fault
you
you
just
there.
said, they win the championships. Fans are definitely a big part of that.
Absolutely.
That's all the time we have for this block. Up next, Ellie will be discussing which games are still haunting teams today.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Now it's time for This Week in Bad Stats.
Bad stats?
Horrible stats. Here goes. 132.
That's how many batters struck out 4 times in one game last season.
Wow, very good. Here's a tough one, though. 3 and 4.
No idea.
That's how many kids witness bullying. 3 out of 4.
That's not a good stat.
No, it's not, but it can change. Kids want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov and give them the tools they need to help prevent bullying.
There are plenty of safe ways kids can help at stopbullying.gov.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
There are some games that linger in the minds of fans and players alike. These kind of games can haunt a team to its core, and these demons are nearly impossible to exorcise. I'm joined by cursing experts Dom and Jenny, who'll help us find out games that haunt teams longer after they finish the game. So guys, we're going to go with one game and what that haunts this team still to this day. Dom, can we start with you?
So maybe not haunts still to this day, but this one game haunted them for a while, and for me, it's Game 4 of the 1945 World Series between the Cubs and the Tigers.
Throwback.
Yeah, the last time the Cubs were actually in the World Series before they won it, 2 years ago. Last year, yeah, sorry.
You're good.
And so very rarely does a game not only hurt your chance of winning a championship, because the Cubs were up 2-1. Had they win this game, they'll go up 3-1, very likely to win it. But this is also the infamous start of the curse of the Billy Goat. Local Cubs fan, he tried to get into the game with a apparently very smelly Billy Goat, and the fans wouldn't, or the team wouldn't let him. They kicked him out, and he said the Cubs were never going to win another one.
And this Billy Goat curse lasted until last year.
It lasted a while.
See, I think that you could go with the Billy Goat game, but the Bartman game might be even worse than
that was my honorable mention, actually, was the Bartman game, but I figured it wasn't in the World Series, and it didn't spawn a 60-some-year curse.
It's Jenny's turn now. We don't care about your honorable mention. Continue, Jenny.
All right, so mine still haunts the team to this day. Going to December 1995, the Montreal Canadiens were playing against the Detroit Red Wings for their worst loss in franchise history, where they lost 11-1. Now, this might not be notable except for the fact that they left their star goalie, probably best goalie in the league, Patrick Waugh, in for 9 goals. So after he finally got pulled, he said, "This is my last game in Montreal." And 4 days later, he was traded to the Colorado Avalanche, where he then won 2 Stanley Cups and a Conn Smythe Trophy. And to this day, the Canadiens have never been back to the Stanley Cup final.
Wow, what do you think about that, Dom?
That is pretty brutal. Yeah, I will say that is a rough one, but I think just, playoff game, you lose the World Series, your team gets cursed, or your own fan reaches over the line and grabs the ball.
The curse has been broken now.
That is fair.
That still haunts the team.
I'm going to go with Super Bowl 50. I know I'm not supposed to share my opinion, but I'm going with the Super Bowl 50, the Panthers and the Broncos, and it still is haunting the team this year. Maybe not for long.
Well, actually, do you know what I think what's really also haunting? When the Seahawks didn't run the ball on the 1-yard line. The team hasn't had quite as much playoff success before that. They've been to back-to-back Super Bowls.
They've had playoff success. That was just one mistake.
In the Super Bowl that cost them the game. Apparently led to a little bit of a divide between some of the coaching staff. Marshawn Lynch was very upset they didn't run the ball. The defense wasn't quite happy that, their offense botched would have been a good game for them. So
I think the real thing is there's so many pivotal moments in sports that it doesn't matter whether it's a regular season game or a World Series or Super Bowl game. You still find that there are so many moments that can change a franchise forever.
Guys, I think we could go on about this all day. There are games over and over that could haunt many teams, but thank you guys for joining me. Those games are haunting, but don't go anywhere because Thomas will be joining me at the desk to discuss the weirdest mascots in sports. Stay tuned.
Almost every team has a mascot. Some of those mascots are scary, some are silly, and then there are a few that are just plain weird. So Ellie, who's got the weirdest mascot?
I'm going with the Philly Fanatic for the baseball team, the Phillies.
What is that thing?
What is a Philly Fanatic?
What's a fanatic?
Well,
not that.
I guess a fanatic is a fan, but that's what fan is. That's what I don't know, but it's weird. What is yours?
I'm going with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. I'll give you a quick little story.
Okay.
When I was a kid, the Kool-Aid commercials scared the living daylights out of me. So when that Kool-Aid man would bust through the wall and go, "Oh yeah!" I would freak out. I would literally pee my couch every single time. Every single time. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers mascot is a dead replica of the Kool-Aid man. He's just this big red blob, and they literally describe him as a big red blob on their website. Just got a slit halfway down the middle, and it's his mouth, and he just runs around and feel like he's gonna eat me.
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
Bust through my
I'm gonna have
wall
to look
and
this
say,
up.
"Oh yeah."
I want to throw something at you. So going back to my baseball thing, there are 3 Major League Baseball teams without a mascot. Can you name one of them? Look at my notes. The Yankees. That is correct.
The Yankees.
So there are 3 MLB teams. The Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Angels. I think this is super interesting.
The Angels
And
mascot isn't the Angels?
they don't have a mascot. Neither do the Yankees and the team that's in the World Series right now, the Dodgers.
Wow.
And see, Orbit, the Astros, he's
Yeah.
such an iconic mascot. And then here you have the Dodgers that don't even have a
The
mascot.
fact that the Dodgers and the Yankees, of all people, don't have a mascot, that's kind of
I
funky
love
to me.
mascots. Do you know the first mascot ever?
No.
The San Diego Chicken, or the
Wow.
Padres. And the Padres still have the San Diego
chicken?
Chicken.
They stuck with the chicken?
There's like all kinds of things about mascots. I think they're the most interesting
Well,
thing.
get the Yankees a mascot.
What would they be? Me. I will be hired as the Yankees mascot.
There you go. Good deal. Little plug right there. That's all the time we have for this episode of One-on-One Sports, though.
Special thanks to all of our talent, crew, and you, the viewer, for tuning in.
And if you miss anything, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, all at One-on-One Sports. Until next time.
Finally, whose side are you on?